What really happens when pirates try to board a cruise ship involves a terrifying standoff where the crew turns the entire deck into a literal fortress in an attempt to stop a hijacking before it starts. Pirates don't target a cruise ship because they think they can outgun it. They do it because they're betting on the sheer chaos of a 5,000-person panic. While these massive vessels look like slow-moving targets, they are actually faster than most people realize. When a 15-foot skiff tries to pull up alongside a 14-story steel wall, apart from fighting the crew, they are fighting a velocity gap. A cruise ship cruising at 20 knots creates a massive pressure wave that pushes smaller boats away, making it nearly impossible to get a steady grip on the hull. The closer a small boat gets to that moving steel, the more water pressure tries to flip it over or smash it against the side. The pirates are essentially stuck in a death trap of churned up water and massive propellers. If they get too close to the stern, the ship's wake will literally suck their tiny boat under the surface. It is a high-speed game of chicken where the pirates' only hope is that the captain slows down out of fear. But modern captains know that as long as they keep the engines pinned, the ship's own movement acts as a primary shield. Even if they manage to survive the wake, they still have to face a vertical climb that defines the laws of survival. In the maritime world, height is everything, and captains use a concept called freeboard to turn the ship into an unreachable island. The freeboard is simply the distance from the waterline to the lowest open deck, and on a modern cruise liner, that can be 50 or 60-foot sheer drop of smooth vertical steel. For a pirate in a small boat, looking up at that height is like staring at a skyscraper with no windows or ledges to grab onto. There are no easy handholds, and the hull is kept slick to ensure that even the most advanced grappling hooks just slide right back into the ocean. To make things worse, the captain can start throwing the ship into high-speed turns to turn the wake into a weapon. By zigzagging at full throttle, the ship displaces so much water that it creates 10-foot swells capable of swamping or flipping a skiff in seconds. It's a brutal move that forces the pirates to stop worrying about boarding and start worrying about not drowning. If the height of the steel doesn't stop them, the ship is ready to hit them with a wall of sound that physically breaks their will to fight. When the skiffs get within 300 meters, the crew activates Long-Range Acoustic Device, or LRAD. This isn't just a loudspeaker, it's a non-lethal weapon that fires a narrow 30-degree beam of sound waves. While a normal conversation happens at 60 decibels, the LRAD can sustain a piercing 150 decibels. At that level, the sound vibrates the fluid in your inner ear and your internal organs. It triggers an immediate, involuntary flight response that causes intense nausea, dizziness, and feeling of total disorientation. The attackers experience a physical assault on their nervous system that makes it impossible to aim a weapon or steer a boat. Because the beam is so directional, the ship's passengers won't feel the effect, but anyone in the line of fire will be effectively neutralized. It creates a shouting wall of air pressure that can be heard clearly over 2 miles away, acting as a final verbal warning before things turn physical. If the pirates try to push through the agony, they'll find that their motor skills have completely evaporated. Once their equilibrium is shattered, they still have to face a hull that has been transformed into a frictionless nightmare. If pirates manage to reach the hull, they encounter active barrier tech that goes way beyond simple razor wire. Many cruise lines now use anti-boarding grease, or goop, a non-toxic, incredibly slippery substance that is sprayed directly onto the hull and the lower railings. This lubricant is so slick that no industrial suction cup or magnetic climber can get a purchase. Even if an attacker throws a grappling hook, the moment they try to put weight on the rope, the hook just slides along the rail until it falls back into the sea. The harder the pirates try to climb, the faster they slide back down. To supplement the grease, crews deploy outrigger nets and temporary razor wire along the lowest accessible decks. These aren't permanent fixtures, They are retractable steel meshes that extend outward from the hull, forcing any climber to navigate a horizontal obstacle while dangling over the wake. If they somehow find a dry spot to grab, they'll be met with a blast of seawater that carries the force of a high-speed collision. The water cannons on a cruise ship aren't just modified fire hoses. They are high-pressure kinetic weapons. These systems can blast out over 5,000 liters of seawater per minute at pressures exceeding 175 psi. At that intensity, the water isn't just wet. It hits with the physical weight of a solid object. A direct hit from one of these remote-controlled turrets can literally strip the outboard motor right off the back of a pirate skiff or shatter a fiberglass hull. The sheer volume of water being dumped into a small boat is enough to swamp the engine and sink the entire craft in under 60 seconds. The crew operates these cannons from the safety of the bridge using joysticks and thermal cameras, meaning they can target the pirates' fuel tanks or steering gear without ever exposing themselves to gunfire. Even if the attackers manage to stay afloat, the ship has one final internal protocol that turns the entire vessel into a locked steel tomb. If the perimeter is breached, the ship enters Citadel Protocol. The crew herds thousands of passengers into the ship's core, usually reinforced theaters or windowless galleys deep within the hull, putting as many steel bulkheads as possible between the people and the outside world. While the guests are secured, the bridge initiates Dead Ship Mode. With a few commands, the captain can remotely kill power to every external elevator, weld-seal electronic doors, and disable deck lighting. From the outside, the ship looks abandoned, but it's actually a controlled fortress. The engineering team can even vent steam or high-pressure air through external pipes to keep attackers away from vital vents. By centralizing everyone in the Citadel, the security team knows exactly where the safe zones are, allowing them to focus entirely on the intruders without worrying about crossfire or civilian interference. Once the ship is buttoned up tight, the professional ghosts on board finally step out of the shadows. You'll never see these guys at the buffet or the pool deck, but almost every ship crossing high-risk waters carries a team of private maritime security contractors. These are usually former elite military or special forces operators who stay embedded in the crew quarters until a threat is confirmed. They operate under strict rules of engagement that start with non-lethal escalation. Their first move is often using high-powered dazzler lasers, beams of light so intense they cause temporary blindness and flash blindness, making it impossible for a pirate to steer a skiff or aim an RPG. If it fails, these teams are authorized to use kinetic force. They carry specialized short-barreled rifles and shotguns designed for the tight quarters of a ship. They don't fire wildly. They use precision shots to disable engines or puncture the inflatable pontoons of the pirate boats. Their goal is to buy enough time for the real heavy hitters to arrive from over the horizon. The moment they verify a lethal threat, they trigger a distress loop that brings a different kind of steel to the fight. The final line of defense is the distress loop, a high-priority signal that alerts every international warship within hundreds of miles. When a nearby destroyer receives this, the response is overwhelming. The most terrifying piece of tech in this scenario is the CIWS, the Close-In Weapon System. It's a radar-guided, 6-barreled Gatling gun that can track a target moving at high speed and fire 4,500 rounds per minute. A pirate boat that refuses to stand down can be completely deleted from the water in a 3-second burst of tungsten fire. Between the automated cannons and the rapid response helicopters launched from the carrier decks, the pirates are suddenly fighting a military machine designed to sink entire fleets. The transition from a luxury vacation to a naval combat zone happens within minutes, ensuring that while the pirates might see a target, the hammer ensures they never get to board it. The sea is a vast place, but for a pirate trying to touch a cruise ship, the world gets very small very fast. When the smoke clears, the only thing left of the boarding attempt is a few floating fuel cans and a very clear message to anyone else watching.